Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for One Piece anime episodes 838 and 839 is I believe what I'm on here. Yeah, so we're still catching up, and I'm actually really, like I said last time, probably not as far back as I even thought I was. So with this, I'm sorry that I was so negative last time, but like I said, I knew that I was not gonna really like Big Mom's backstory animated that much because I don't like her backstory in general. It's not that the episodes weren't good for what they were, it was just that the story was not that great. And I don't want to say that this first episode, 838, was less good than those two, but in some ways it was. I felt like I had a lot more fun watching these two episodes, including 838. I had so much more fun watching them, but at the same time, when it comes to production quality and stuff, critically speaking, 838 wasn't really as well made. But either way, I'll talk about each of them part by part, starting with 838. So I was hoping for this, we'd go ahead and get back to the sort of main storyline of things. We didn't really so much with 838 as we did in 839, but we got back to it some. So I was hoping for that because I love this arc and I love everything that's going on in the actual present timeline here. But starting off with the recap, I always talk about that because usually when I don't, I would get a comment here or there saying what do you think of the recap. But for this one in particular, I wanted to bring up because it was succinct, but it still covered everything really well. And I think actually it wasn't that succinct. I think it was 1.5 to 2 minutes, but it covered everything so well that I really didn't mind seeing it. And I think it's good to praise how short the recaps have been lately, or how well they've been done recently, because we've just had certain arcs and certain episodes mostly certain arcs where we were just in recap hell, and like we'd have like 4 to 5 minutes of recap, or it felt much worse when we had that stupid thing that treated us like idiots at the beginning of every episode, telling us who the characters were, as if anybody watching episode 800 some of something wouldn't at least know the main cast in passing, or even if it was a new viewer, if they couldn't pretty quickly pick up on who the main cast were. But that was like a huge waste of 30 to 40 seconds every episode. So with that gone, things feel a lot better too. So I think it's good to praise how well they've been doing the recaps lately. So the episode, though, I will say that they start off with reused still frames from episodes ago. We get back to Big Mom's backstory where a giant saw what happened and then reported it back to Elbaf. Which of course makes them hate Big Mom even more. And the second person who saw what happened was an ex-pirate, Streusen, who we know is now the head chef of her crew or whatever. And Streusen has a devil fruit that lets him turn objects into food, which is kinda OP, and also completely explains a lot of the stuff we've seen in Whole Cake Island / Totland, where we've seen a lot of things that were just food, and it's like, how is the land, how are these buildings, how are the rivers food? But it makes sense now with Streusen on her crew that that's possible, especially if he's like one of the big shots, one of the founders with her. So Lin Lin, being the asshat as she is even from childhood, here's this speech from Mother Carmel, who is absolutely bullshitting because she's a terrible person too, saying, everyone should be equal and no racism, which is a great thing to say if she weren't completely lying and just using it to manipulate them. But she's giving this great message, and then Lin Lin completely takes it the wrong way by being like, yes, no judging people or racism. That won't happen if I make it so everyone's the same race as me. It's like, no, that is the opposite way this works, Lin Lin. So then from that, we had some in-canon filler with her and Streusen taking out various Marines and attacking various places. And I actually really liked it. I didn't mind it at all because I like when we get stuff like that. I particularly like in-canon filler because I feel like it helps with the pacing, and if it's got some action, it's so much better than dragging things out. And it lets us see some new, fresh stuff, even if you're a manga reader like myself. And it develops characters some more. Like this developed Big Mom and Strusen, and it had some action to it. So I actually thought it was quite good, and I don't think all of it was in-canon filler, but at least a good chunk of it was. Then in the present timeline, her rage exceeds her grief, allowing her to destroy the KX launchers that were fired at her, or rather the projectiles from them, not the launchers themselves, but you get what I mean. Katakuri then makes Mochi earplugs, allowing the Big Mom pirates to get back into the fray. Caesar rushes in to try to get everybody out, and there was kind of an obvious outcome of her scream breaking the mirror, and I kind of feel like they all should have foresaw that coming, no matter what, basically. But everything was funny there. There were so many good character reaction faces, so all of that was great. Then the episode ends, and we get the preview, and the preview is super spoilery. Like, we had a really, really spoilery preview, and I hate when Toei does that. So thoughts on the episode as a whole. I will have to be a little bit critical. I had so much fun watching it, but I will have to be a little bit critical on the production aspect, because there was a lot of downtime. Even though I did say the in-canon filler helped with the pacing, in other places there were still a lot of slow-paced moments where it's just like, okay, you're sitting around for a minute or two and it feels like next to nothing's happening. There were a lot of still frames, there were a lot of reused shots, and there were a lot of moments of poor animation, is what I'll call it. But just in spite of all that, I had a lot of fun watching. And I'd actually give it a 6.5 years of bad luck for breaking that mirror out of 10. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Wasn't that great critically, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than the past two. And I think that's because, though the past two did better on a production aspect, I don't like the story of Big Mom's backstory all that much. And it also makes you think, Mother Carmel, she could have, instead of taking the easier route of saying, I'm going to sell her off to the government and just be rich enough to live out the rest of my life or whatever, she could have gone the Strusen route, really. Couldn't she? Couldn't she have just used her to build this giant empire and kingdom? And hell, she could have maybe said, build this empire and kingdom for me to be the queen of. And Big Mom could have done it. I mean, Strusen basically did it, except he didn't want to be king himself, it would seem. Though I'm sure the way he's living, he's probably living a king-level lifestyle in Totland. So let's get into 839 after that. So 839 had a pretty quick recap. I mean, it wasn't super quick, I guess, but it seemed pretty quick. It was another pretty good one. Beige goes full castle. Defeld, we cut to, tries to steal the Tamate box. Katakuri then captures Brûlé from Caesar Clown. Then we get to see a lot more cool in-canon filler action that I loved. I loved all the action added in here, and of course not all of it is added, but a lot of it was, and I love all of it. It just, when we get to see more action that was added in, like that one fight Luffy had was basically all in-canon filler, and that fight was really, really good. Like, not this episode, but a while back, I don't remember which one he was, but maybe it was Counter. He's one of the brothers with Opera and Cadenza. I think it's Counter was the one that he fought that it was really good. So that was in-canon filler, and that was really good. So I like everything that was added in here with all the little fights between Big Mom crew members and Beige's crew and the Straw Hats and their allies. So yeah, I actually loved all of that. The Vinsmokes then transform, and the staff of the anime had been waiting for this. They enjoyed making this so much. They cheesed the transformations for everything it was worth, and it was fun as a viewer, and I assume that they must have been waiting to get to make it, because they look like they had so much fun making it. The moon boots, though, I will say, are still pretty lame. And everything that they did, all the moves they made afterward, and the panels they had, and then the little, the cards they showed before and after the commercial break, all of that was just so over the top, and it was so funny, so cool. It's just a really fun episode once again. It reminded me of when they did the Soga King stuff and went all over the top with it, and the little Soga King openings. That was all so good. So I legitimately laughed pretty hard at Vito freaking out because he gets to fanboy and see his beloved Vinsmokes in action, his German 66 in action. So then everyone escapes into the castle. Defeld loses the box on a ledge. Pero Spero then protects Big Mom from a volley of cannon fire. Katakuri clogs the cannon so it can't happen again, and Beige announces that the assassination is a failure once he is bound in candy, and now the castle is under siege. They can't go anywhere, they're trapped in there, and they're surrounded by Big Mom's crew. So, really good story to be told in the future. And I thought this episode had really solid animation. It was so fun. As a viewer, and I assume they've been waiting to make it because it looked like they had fun making it. It looked like they really put some heart into it. I thought it was just a really fun episode. And also loved all the filler action they added in. All that was really good. So, yeah, I'd give it 8.5 Science Hero Teams out of 10. So, yeah, 6.5 for 838 and for 839 and 8.5. I enjoyed both. I had fun with both. And yeah, I guess that's it, and I'll be back next week with 2 more of them to catch up even further. So I guess if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these 2 episodes, what you thought of my thoughts on them and all that. Subscribe for more One Piece, both anime and manga. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you up to there and stuff for the channel or talk to you there. If you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us on Discord, just ask and I'll give you a link to that. And yeah, that's it. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.